was about a 2-year window where every quarter I would have a Choose Your Destiny live intensive workshop. And we did this for a couple of years, and we will again at some point in the future. But that was a great container and a great mechanism to teach the creation process. The foundation of that workshop, of that live intensive, was teaching the creation process, the process where we can create new realities and we can level up in our material wealth and success and happiness and enjoy a higher quality of life in the external world. And the work that we taught in the Choose Your Destiny Live Intensive is very much internal work. And when you really dive into the topics that I've shared on the workshop or on this podcast, and then you bring them and advance them into the workshop, really what it is what is going on inside of our mind and bodies has a massive impact in what happens and what we recognize and what we experience in the world. Now, going back to 2016, when I was just coming out of corporate, and my then coach taught me, or told me, asked me, I guess, to read Think and Grow Rich, which is up there in the pile. I read Think and Grow Rich, and I thought it was just a bunch of hooey. I just thought it was a bunch of bullshit. How can my thoughts have any impact on what's happening in the world? It didn't make sense. How can what I'm thinking and feeling have any impact, any influence, any influence at all on what's happening in my external world? It was like I had spent so much time focused on the outside game and success and creating, wealth and my family and everything. I'd spend so much time, and I was so inundated by everything that was going on outside of me. I never really paid attention to what was happening inside of my mind and body. When I did, I realized it was a fucking disaster, what was happening inside of me. And that is why my life had spiraled and my life had fallen apart. And I had gotten ejected from two executive level positions in 20 months after a long, successful run. My marriage was failing. The way I parented was awful. I was unemployed. I had no income. I had no health. Everything had completely fallen apart. And when I first read Think and Grow Rich, I dismissed it as a bunch of bullshit. But I came back to it about 6 months after that, and I realized that I was missing out by not paying attention to what Think and Grow Rich was trying to teach us. And since then, I've read probably 100 books that basically say the same thing and share the same things in different ways, in different formats. This pile that I'm pointing to, and if you're watching this episode, I'm pointing to a pile of books on my wall, and I call this my Sacred Seven. And they're books they're 7 books that basically say the same thing differently, but all about the creation process. So by studying the creation process, by seeing it work in the world for me, by seeing where it didn't work for me in the world, I got a chance to understand it and gain more wisdom, gain more clarity from the creation process, and then bring that into the workshops. Now, I'm not a master of it by no means, and I don't think that the creation process is something we ever really master. But as we practice, we definitely get better at it. All right. And mastery is the practicing of an art, not the attainment of some destination. Right. Today, what I want to do is, lately I've been getting more clarity around the creation process, and I've not refined it. I'm not changing the creation process. It's still the process of getting clear about what you want, creating certainty in your mind and body, and remaining committed to the process, including taking some inspired action, being patient in the process. This isn't a rush job. And when it shows up, receive it and take receipt of it. And it is that simple. Not always easy, but it is very simple to understand. But over the last day or two, I've gotten a refinement in understanding of the creation process and how to articulate it and how to actually, like, the mechanics of it in our mind and body. And I want to share that on today's episode. When I started this journey, I was not a spiritual guy at all. Back in 2016, I would have said I was very religious, but I wasn't spiritual. And I always thought that religion was spirituality, but I'm seeing they're vastly different. And I was very religious. I was still attending a church, and I was still part of a men's group. And I wasn't really being, it was like I was still trying to force myself into a box of a rigid belief system. And I never really fully fit. It never really fully connected. But when I started understanding and reading more spiritual books and getting to know more spiritual teachings and more spiritual teachers, I found some beauty in it and in spirituality. And I learned to disconnect religion and spirituality, that not some religions are spiritual, but not all religions are spiritual. And when I started understanding and diving in more, really, spirituality is just about the state of consciousness that's happening inside of us, what's going on in our mind and body. And as we elevate in our state of consciousness, our life elevates, and the experience that we have in life elevates. And as we elevate our mind, as we upgrade and update and upgrade our mind, as we update and upgrade our bodies, what's happening in our body, our nervous system, our emotions, what we're thinking, what we're feeling, as we elevate our internal consciousness, then we upgrade and update our external consciousness. What's going on in our mind and body has a direct impact of what happens in this world. And when the mind and body are full of a bunch of clutter and a bunch of damage, then you're going to find yourself living a pretty dramatic life. You're going to find yourself in a lot of crises and reacting in a large degree, reacting to what's happening in life instead of creating what's happening. And that's where I was. I was reacting to what life was bringing at me instead of influencing and creating what was happening. And once you see this, you can't unsee it, that we are the creators of our life. We are the creators of our reality. And the external world is a reflection of what's happening inside of us. Now, I bring all of that spirituality to the front of the table because we're going to talk about the creation process: clarity, certainty, and commitment, getting clear about what you want, getting certain in your mind and body, and remaining committed to the process: clarity, certainty, commitment. But I want to bring another element to it, because this is the new part. This is the new refinement that takes that and it makes it a little more understandable. All right. If you're watching, I'm with my hands, I'm making a triangle that's pointing up. All right. So even if you're not watching, if you're listening, just imagine that there's a triangle that's pointing up. All right. Pretty simple. Now, at the top of the triangle, I want you to imagine the word soul. And you could even say spirit, whatever connects with you. Soul/spirit, doesn't matter. They're the same thing. In the bottom left-hand side, I want you to write mind. And in the bottom right-hand side, I want you to write body. Body, mind, soul. Body, mind, spirit. This is the triangulation of body, mind, and spirit. All right? This is what spirituality is: the convergence, the mergence, the triangulation of the body, the mind, and the spirit, and how these three work together to experience being a human. All right? We are not, you, I, we, 8.3 billion people, we are not humans having a spiritual experience. We are spirit having a human experience. You have the creative essence, the creative force of God inside of you, inside of your body, inside of your heart. And you can create in this earthly realm. In fact, you came here to create in this earthly realm, not just make more money, but also to be able to experience more experiences, go places, feel the warmth and the winter in different places, to see beauty, to taste, to touch, to feel, to experience more of the earth. I was sitting with my closest friend yesterday on his brand new home that he's renovating, and we're sitting out on the back, and he backs up to the lake. We're sitting out on his back patio, and it's just a beautiful day. It was around 75 degrees, and there's boats out on the lake, and there's birds in the air and birds chirping, and there's wildlife running around, and he really has created a beautiful, beautiful life. And all because he understood the creation process. Now, getting back to the triangulation of the body, mind, and the soul, when we talk about clarity, we're talking about getting clear about the future that we want to experience. That's what clarity is. It's what is the due north? What is the target of our creation? One of the No, not one of. The main reason that people don't have what they want is because they don't know what they want. Most people can absolutely tell you what they don't want, but very few can tell you what they do want. And clarity means kind of clearing away what life has delivered, clearing away what you're experiencing, and saying, what does my soul want to experience? What do I want to experience? Do I want to experience business ownership? Do I want to experience time freedom? Do I want to experience financial freedom? Do I want to experience more travel, a more beautiful house? Do I want to experience a more enriched relationship? What exactly is it that right now my soul is being drawn towards? And this is clarity. If you don't know what you want, you can't have it. And clarity is getting clear about what you want, what your soul wants. Your soul came here. The soul that you are, you have a mind, you have a body, but you are the soul. And that soul came here to experience something. That soul came here to express itself and to experience something probably pretty specific for you. And if you really, really get clear about what your soul is asking to experience, you'll start to immediately feel a lightness and an inspiration and joy because you're connecting to your soul's truth. And that's the beginning of the triangulation. All right. What I love is I work from home, I podcast from home. I jump on coaching calls with clients from all over the country from home. When I speak, I go out on the road sometimes, but I do webinars from home. I record trainings from home. I love being home. I am a homebody. I love being home, but I also love being in front of large crowds and teaching and lighting people up and speaking. I love that. That is what's true for me. That is what my soul came here to experience. And I found myself for 20 some years in corporate running a $65 million, running a $350 million enterprise and not enjoying any of it. But as soon as I started getting really, really clear about what my soul was really after, teaching, coaching, training, speaking, it like immediately created inspiration and energy inside of me. All right. So that's the first part. Clarity is getting clear about what your soul came here to experience and what your soul wants to experience right now. That's the first part. Now the second part is certainty. Now this is where things get a little. I think that the clarity part is the easy part of this whole thing. Well, once we understand that we can dream, and when we dream, then we can start the juices of inspiration flowing. This is where it starts to get a little hairy, and this is what was really, really difficult for me. This was extremely difficult. Certainty is about your mind and your body and what's happening inside. Now, when I say certainty, I'm talking about certainty in your mind and in your body that the thing, the object that you want, the lifestyle that you want, whatever it is, the object of your clarity, it's already yours because you've chosen it. And this is every spiritual teacher has taught the same thing. that everything you want is fully available to you. And it's just a matter of creating it in your mind and your body first, and then you'll experience it. But what I find is that there's so much mental clutter in people's minds. There's so much worry. There's so much doubt. There's so much not sarcasm. There's so much skepticism, that there's so much mental clutter that the thoughts aren't empowering. The thoughts that are in their mind is, but I can't, but I'm not good enough. But what if I fail? But is that really available to me? Is this possible? All of these thoughts. What if nobody pays attention to me? What if I don't get what I want? All of these thoughts, all of these beliefs that are embedded in our mind, that are pessimistic, that are skeptical, that are cynical, that keep us in our darkness, in our shadows, that keep us just seeking security. There's so much mental baggage that comes with this human game sometimes, that we can't see through the fog of all the negativity that's flying around. And the mind part is the work in doing the work and practicing the work of getting the mind and the dream to agree. If your mind doesn't agree with the dream and holds that negativity, that pessimism, that skepticism, that cynicism, that still thinks insecure thoughts and inadequate thoughts and insignificant thoughts, if the mind continues to hold all of that negativity, then the mind and the dream that's in your heart, the mind and the dream do not agree, and they're not working together. And some people used to call me a mindset coach, and I never really liked the mindset coach, that label. But that's what that is. Mindset coach, mindset and mindset coaching is about teaching people how to get the mind and the heart, the dream that's locked in their heart, the soul, to agree. That's simply what mindset coaching is, or mindset. It's agreement between the heart and the mind. All right? Hope that makes sense. That is a big word. Agreement between the mind and the heart. Mindset. All right? So now we've got the soul that has a vision. We've got the mind that doesn't agree, that we get to work through. And the last part of this is the body. Now, I've done a lot of episodes about the nervous system and about samskaras and about the stored up pain in our body and about all the trauma and the pent up negativity, negative experiences, and the negative emotion that's stored within our body. And the fact that our nervous system has one goal and ambition, one goal and one goal only, and that is to keep us alive. And it tries to keep us alive by keeping us in familiar circumstances. And it tries to keep us in familiar circumstances because it knows how to keep us alive there. But as soon as anything changes, the nervous system can't guarantee survival. And this is what self-sabotage is. This is why there's anxiety and fear and all this stuff. It's the body trying to keep you in familiar circumstances so it can keep you alive. So the third part of this is opening up your body to receive, because if there's all that resistance, if there's the fear trapped and anxiety, and if there's all of this, if there's stress and struggle and torment in your body, when you start to think about the dream, then it's all resistance. That's all resistance that's keeping what you want away from you. And sometimes when someone does get what they want and their body feels unsafe with it, the body gets rid of it unconsciously. This is all really unconscious stuff. When a body does not feel safe and secure with new circumstances, it will get rid of it. This is why there's self-sabotage. And this is why when somebody is broke if they win the lottery, they're soon broke again because their nervous system doesn't feel safe with the money. And when someone is not used to success, when they succeed, they'll find a way to get back into a less successful place because their body might not feel safe with it, and they may just get rid of it. This is what this is a human dilemma. It's because the nervous system is always looking for familiarity until we retrain it and we practice embodiment work. Okay, so we got mindset work and we've got embodiment work. Mindset work helps the mind and the heart agree, and embodiment work helps us let go of all the damage and the clutter and the emotional stuff that's in our body, realign our nervous system to feel safe receiving these new circumstances. And I know this all sounds like wooey shit, and it is. But this is the spiritual stuff that will set you free. When I practice and I talk about embodiment work, I'm talking about shadow work. I'm talking about the drill method. I'm talking about meditation. I'm talking about EFT, the Sedona method, and EFT, and tapping. And I'm talking about there's acupuncture, people who use acupuncture, and I'm talking about cranial sacral therapy and Reiki. I'm talking about just anything to release the negative emotion that's been built up in your body. There's a Sanskrit word that's samskaras, and I wrote about it in my book Inner World, Outer World. The damage and the trauma that's accumulated in our body. And the deeper of a feeler you are, the more I bet you struggle with the emotional stuff that's inside of your body. The more you are a thinker, I bet you're dealing with the negative thoughts that are in your mind. And if you're a deep thinker and a deep feeler, I bet you're dealing with both. And I am both. I'm a deep thinker and a deep feeler. And when I started this journey, there was so much damage in my mind. There was so much damage in my body that everything felt impossible. And even trying to dream felt impossible. So when you triangulate these, the soul wants to experience the dream. And as we do the work, the mindset work to build more empowering beliefs, as we do the embodiment work of letting go of the damage that's inside of us and releasing, drilling, dropping into the body, recognizing what's in there, inquiring and investigating in what's in there and what it's trying to tell us, how it got there and what it's trying to teach us. When we listen to it and listen to what it has to tell us and where it came from, and then we let it go, drill, drop into your body, recognize what's in, inquire, listen, and let it go. When we drill into emotions and into our inner world, and we start to let go of the emotional wreckage, our body starts to come into alignment. And I have a meditation called Installing Future You that is very much, you get into the mindset of the person who already has what you want. You feel it in your body, and your body starts to rewire itself and realign around it. That's the entire point of that meditation, Installing Future You. And when we triangulate, your soul has a vision and a dream that it wants to achieve. And when the mind agrees and when the body is ready to receive, you will start to see evidence of it showing up in your life. New opportunities will show up. New things to respond to will show up. Emails will show up. You'll run into people, you'll meet. But as long as you don't know what you want, you don't understand what your soul came here, your mind doesn't agree with a higher level of circumstance or quality of life, and if your body can't have it, hold it, doesn't feel safe and secure with a higher level of reality, you won't experience any of it. But when we get really, really clear about what we want in our life, the soul and the soul's vision, when we do the work to allow our mind to agree with it, and when we clear out the clutter and the damage and we prepare our bodies to receive it, we will receive. And that is what the creation process is all about. Clarity is getting really, really clear about what you want. Certainty is creating agreement in the mind and a receptive body. And commitment is about the inspired action, the patience, and the willingness and the ability to receive that's required to complete the creation process. And guys, I've seen in my life where this has worked. And typically it was like there was so much certainty in my mind and my body that of course it was going to show up. And because I do believe that certainty is the hardest part of this. But when I held the doubt and when my body tensed up or when my body was holding some level of fear and anxiety about maybe what happens if ... then it wasn't prepared to receive. And in those times, things didn't show up. But this is the creation process. And this is what Choose Your Destiny was all about. And one day, when we start to relaunch our workshops and our workshop series, I'll teach the creation process, but I'll teach it from the point of triangulation and the mental agreement, the visual clarity, the mental agreement, and the embodied receptivity that's required. An embodied receptivity means you already feel like you already have it. That's when you know your body's ready to receive. When your body feels like you already have it, like it's not a missing piece, like it's already in your possession and you're already experiencing it, that is when your body is ready to receive. And in the Choose Your Destiny workshops and in my work, we focus on the alignment and triangulation of the soul, the mind, and the body. A lot of coaching, teaching, training goes into the mindset and the mind agreement, but not many places, not many teachings, not many teachers go into the body and the embodiment. And for me, that's where the magic happens. If you want to check this out more, there's a book by Neville Goddard called Feeling is the Secret. And he pretty much solidifies everything that I'm talking about in this episode. All right, guys, I hope that's helpful. I hope that gave another level of insight and clarity into the creation process. If you haven't checked out other podcast episodes, just go and search on the creation process within my podcast. And there's plenty of episodes where I talk about it. Dive in. It's the work that'll change your life. But you know what? Most of the work that will change your life is on the inside of you. Most people are focused outside, but the most important and valuable work you can do is inside of you, in your mind and in your body, to bring them into alignment with what your soul came here to experience. And it came here to experience a lot.